Hello and welcome to another Prestige Market Update. I'm Stuart Reed, and as always, with us is Nicole Hardwick, our head of purchasing. I always get your job title wrong.
You do.
It's a thing of mine. It's a brain issue. So how are you, Nicole? Been up to much?
I'm good. I'm good. I've not been on holiday like the last time. I'm patiently waiting until the end of the year for my next holiday. But yeah, things have been good.
Good, good. Okay, well, let's crack on with things. What have you got for us? Tell us about what's going on in the market.
So many of the categories we'll cover are actually being influenced by weather related factors, no surprise.
No
But
surprise.
that's building on some of the themes we explored in our previous podcast where we spoke about the El Nino. So little shout out. If you haven't had a chance to listen to that, please do. But I want to start to talk about dairy. So whilst milk, cheese, and eggs they remain in year deflation, we're being told about signs that market conditions are tightening. So suppliers have highlighted ongoing inflationary pressures that's linked to the dry weather conditions, no surprise there, which is impacting the grass growth, and that's then increasing the need for supplementary feed. So farmers are already utilising hay that they would have kept specifically for the winter months. So at the same time, we've also got the fertilizer costs that remain elevated. So whilst these factors haven't yet translated into significant inflation in the market, there is growing uncertainty around future pricing, particularly if current weather patterns continue throughout the summer and it doesn't rain anytime soon.
Nice, yeah, that's a good outlook for us going forward. What about meat? Does it affect meat pricing as well?
Yeah, absolutely. This links into meat. So there's a reliance on purchased feed that will, because there's obviously no grass to eat. So that then raises production costs for cattle. This may encourage some producers to either market cattle earlier or face higher costs of maintaining the stock. So it's worth noting that the EU's planned restriction as well on Brazilian beef imports is due to come into play on the 3rd of September this year. So that's due to EU compliance and it could influence European and UK beef markets as well as the weather. So Brazil is a significant global exporter and EU's reliance on imports has risen a lot over the last couple of years. So the extent of any supply shortfall, it's uncertain at the moment, but Brazil volumes may be directed to alternative export markets and other suppliers could then fill the gaps within Europe. But it's definitely a situation that warrants close monitoring.
So potentially good news for European beef suppliers, but not so much for us.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. As we've been talking about drought, how are vegetable prices holding up? What's going on there?
I mean, supply levels are generally strong across both the UK and EU crops, so it's helping to keep pricing competitive, which is good news. However, onions remain a category to watch. So, the dry weather across several growing regions is raising concerns around crop development and also yield potential. So, availability remains good today, but if it doesn't rain soon, we could see upward pricing pressure emerge later in the year. As well as onions, potatoes are currently in the old crop and new crop transition period, with most processors and chip suppliers still relying on potatoes harvest in autumn last year, and they've got them held in storage. So strong UK and Northern European crops last season have left the market well supplied. So that's keeping raw potato pricing relatively stable. But looking ahead, the key thing to watch is the 2026 harvest. So, with weather conditions over the coming weeks likely to determine yield and quality, and obviously the overall quantity that we have.
Mm.
So, some growers are expected to reduce plantings following RECA returns. That could then tighten supply later in the year. But for now, availability remains good and pricing is broadly stable, but it's definitely one to watch.
Okay. And anything else at all? Is there anything else that we should be watching out for this month?
Yeah, one thing I wanted to flag was cooking oil. So that remains a category to watch closely, and my team have been focusing on that with our clients recently as well. So the market continues to be driven by strong demand from the biofuel sector alongside weather concerns across the key growing regions in Europe, Canada, and also Australia as well.
Yeah,
So we've already seen this reflected in recent commodity movements. So an example of that is rapeseed pricing increased by a further £27 a tonne just this week. So while supply remains stable, the category is really exposed to weather, the energy market, and obviously the geopolitical risks as well. So that means further pricing pressure can't be ruled out in the coming months. So it's a good reminder for operators to review their current supply agreements and really consider opportunities to lock in pricing where possible.
sensible. Good advice. All right, well, thanks, Nicole. I think we can probably wrap it up there. But as always, if you've got any issues or anything you want to talk about covering the subjects we covered today or anything else in procurement, do visit our website, prestige-purchasing.com. And we'll see you next time. Thanks, Nicole.
You're welcome. Bye.